Hello, people of the internet, it's Amanda, and if you think I'm done talking about this drama, then you're wrong. Now, the thing is, there's no music day or 24-hour terebi to distract me this week from the fact that Miman Keisatsu is already over. Now, I know that the drama wrapped up over 2 weeks ago, but the thing is, with other distractions to look forward to on my Saturdays when, it's not there anymore. So it's quite easy to ignore that fact. But now, it's the first official weekend where there's really just nothing to look forward to anymore when it comes to the drama department. So there's that. The reason why I'm making this video is sort of just to make a conclusion out of all the videos that I've done for this particular drama. And I've always wanted to create like a ranking type of video, especially for this one that I've really sort of like followed from episode 1 to 10 and have dissected in detail each and every week. So, and I don't know, I just basically want to talk about this drama again, so there's also that. The purposes of this particular video, I've talked about this in my past ones. If you want to see those in detail, I'll be putting a link to the playlist down in the description below. But I will be looking at it more on just the holistic feeling of each and every episode, not really diving deep into sort of like the chemistry that Hirano Sho or Nakajima Kento brought into each narrative, but more so on like if you're just a casual viewer, like how would it have possibly made you feel. Obviously, I would still have my own biases regarding, the story arcs and everything like that, so that definitely will affect the rankings for this particular list. But again, I'll still try as much as possible to be as objective in a way as to how I came up with the rankings and just talk about in detail which parts of it I felt like worked and which parts didn't. So there's that. For the one in 10th place, this is kind of weird considering the circumstances, but I really am putting the pilot episode on last place. And the thing of this is, again, even if it establishes the chemistry between Hirano Sho and Nakajima Kento as the ones leading this entire thing, if you just look at it from the perspective of someone who didn't come into this drama wanting to watch both of them. The case itself is kind of weird, and I've talked about this in my video about this episode as well, is I feel like, there's definitely this feeling of detachment towards this particular episode, because we know J-dramas, we know how weird some plot lines can really get. It's just that for something that tries to tap into the emotions of the viewers through something that happens in real life. I mean, the messaging of this is really good in a way that it establishes how police should, like sometimes because of how the system works, the police just don't prioritize people who are normal and not important, something like that. And it establishes the consequences of these particular actions or this particular workings within the system. But the way that it was just delivered, I mean, it was very well acted, but the way that the whole electrocution thing and everything like that, so it just feels very weird enough. There are a lot of like fan servicey scenes in this episode as well, but even that, like, that didn't just cut it for me, because some of it just feels very weird. And just holistically, the episode, even if it launches this entire series, like if I'm just checking it out casually and not really in it for wanting to see it because of the main actors, I would have probably like dropped this first episode. That's basically my opinion on it, because of how it just felt really weird. Kenti and Sho, they're fun to watch in the first episode. It's really funny and all that, but once you dive deep into the case itself, which is the central, like where the story is revolving, I don't know, that one is just a whole new weird for me. So that's why it's low. It's the one at the bottom of my list. But again, like after this one, the episodes that I'll be talking about, like I don't particularly hate them. It's more of just analyzing how they made me feel as I was watching them. And so we move on to the one on the 9th place, which is episode 6. Now, this one to me, I personally like this episode. I feel like this is when it's starting to feel more like a police drama rather than, this entire thing of just these two people messing up and stuff. But I feel like why it's lower down my list is because of the whole, it felt a little bit claustrophobic for me. I mean, they're just stuck in a classroom the entire episode. It's very well acted. The dramatics are really good. The emotion that it tapped into was really, really good. It's just that, I mean, for a police drama, and the way, I mean, I get that it's trying to set up this bigger narrative until the end of the episode. It's just that, again, if you're looking for, I don't know, a little bit of action here and there, which is something that's been delivered by the other episodes that went before it. So this feels sort of like lull in a way. So there's that. But overall, like, I actually really, really like this episode. It's just that, again, like, there's a lot of talking happening here and there because it's trying to establish like this like bigger thing. And for people who are not particularly a huge fan of that treatment, so this episode might feel like, it just drones on and on and on. So there's that. Now, after that, so moving to 8th place is episode 7, which is the one that came after, the one that I just explained earlier. So obviously that's how we count here. But the reason why it's a bit higher up my list is because now it really sort of like they divide it into two. So Kai's character is stuck inside the room, but then Jiro's character is there, and he was able to sort of like there's this balance of, again, the brainy side of the team and then the more physical side of the team. So this whole like dynamic that they have of each of them just investigating things in their own way, that's the reason why it's a bit higher up my list, because then like we have a bit more room to breathe in between, just all these explanation sequences, and then we get a little bit of action as well. So there's that. Now, for the 1 and 7th place, this is episode 4. Now, this one I'm a bit quite sad to put it in a very like low-ish position, because this is the episode that's centered around Nakajima Kento's character, Honma. Now, the reason why it's lower down my list is because whenever we get character-centric episodes, and I sort of like expected this given that, these are two sort of like prominent names and how they made them into a tandem and stuff like that. So obviously, like, they will have character-centric episodes. But for this one, like, I just expected more. And going outside of the context of when this aired, so this was a bit ill-timed considering that when this episode aired, it was also around the time when the whole Miura thing happened, and I honestly was viewing it through considering the topic of the episode as well, I was viewing it through very clouded lenses. But now, like, after I've rewatched it outside of that context, the reason why I also felt very detached about this particular episode is that it never really gave us something different based on Kai's character. Like, for example, we already know from the earlier episodes that he's the brains between the duo, but here, like, they're sort of like tapping into the whole romance thing, but it just didn't click because he's so detached from it as well. So it's more of just him trying to exercise, this, profiling thing and stuff like that, but we never really learn more about his character in terms of emotionality just outside of that. So that's why, I mean, what I like about character-centric episodes in general is that you get to learn more about the character beyond just who they already are in the narrative. And I wish that they could have tapped into, like, for example, he said that he didn't last through his first job through university, which led him to entering the police academy because he felt very inadequate. And I wish that they could have just tapped into that more. Like, maybe, I don't know, he could have met like the people from his past job or anything like that. So I felt like that would have made a better sort of like narrative for us to learn more about him before his life in the police academy rather than this one, because this one, again, and the theme of the episode as well, like a lot of J-dramas tap into the idea of mental health and all that, but this one, it just felt like, it was trying to scratch the surface, but it's really more of just a plot device for this entire thing. So that's why this episode, even if, oh my gosh, I love Kenti so much, but this is the reason why it's lower down my list. Now, moving up that would be episode 8. Now, for episode 8, I think this is a bit higher up my list, in a way, because it's just a fun episode. We get to see them finally on the field. I mean, they've been on the field before, loosely speaking, but this is more of like they're actually commissioned to be on the field. So quite interesting. This is one of the episodes that really, really sort of like felt more of like a comedy police drama vibe to it. And it's just a pretty interesting episode altogether. And I feel like I'm just a little bit biased about this as well, because I've said this in my past videos, but I just love Harada Taizo so much. And so having him here and having him, work together with Jiro and Kai for this particular episode was such a delight for me. I like the messaging that went into this particular episode as well, where, we're all just trying so hard to just deal with circumstances in our own way. And there's certain sensitivities or certain feelings that gets bottled up, and trying to explore that, trying to express that, trying to take justice into our own hands sometimes. It's just a very well-rounded story in my opinion, and it's not exactly like the best there is, but I just like the treatment of this because it felt very clean and very crisp in a way. And I don't know, like it really is the jumping point from what we're going to get for the last 3 episodes of the series. So that's why I absolutely like it, and that's why it's a bit higher up my list. So there's that. In 5th place, I'm gonna be pushing for the finale. Now, the reason why this isn't higher up my list is because I get that I like how, with all the emotions and everything like that, like how everything came into play, how they tried to conclude and everything. It's just that I feel like some of the aspects of it, although they foreshadowed it a little bit, like there's just something that's a bit disjointed about this entire thing. Like, I don't know, I feel like we have been baited with these ideas since the beginning about Katanozaka. It's just that I don't know, I feel like maybe it's because it's just 10 episodes, I don't know, but there's just something so rushed there, or something like a double red herring type of thing happening that, I don't know, I mean, overall, just looking at it surface level, it's a really, really good episode, and it really is okay, but there are a lot of like questionable parts in it as well, and I don't know, it just, I feel like, again, I really like how this episode went. It's just that, is it the strongest ending to a series ever that I've seen? No. This obviously isn't one of the most brilliant dramas I've ever seen. There's that. It's just the chemistry of the cast really, really made it work. But just overall, for the finale, it was okay. It was okay. It's just that, I don't know, I feel like there's just, I was yearning more after it. Maybe it's just me, just not wanting this to end, but I like the episode in particular. It's just that, it's not top tier level for me. So yeah, top 4, it would be the 2nd episode. So this one I like because it's already, starting to establish the relationship that Jiro and Kai had built. Plus, Mone is also here, so that's why I significantly love it. This is the one that starts off from the referential material from the Korean movie. So there's also, like, the narrative itself is also a bit more crisp and clear. But the thing with this is, since it's really more of just the whole investigating type of thing and stuff like that, so there's that. So that's why it's still not a bit higher than my 3rd place, which is episode 3. Now, episode 3 is sort of like, is the second part to this 2-part thing from episode 2 to 3, where they discuss this entire narrative of, just rescuing the girls and everything like that. And I like I like this one more because it's again contrasting it to the Korean movie. It's really when they take it full circle and how the two are starting to really like train and everything, and that's when you see how determined they are and what their principles are as police officers. I just particularly like this episode because of the whole like training montages, and then there's also like this taking it into their own hands type of thing. I like the stunt coordination and choreography for this particular episode, and that ending I didn't expect. I've talked about this before in that video as well, but I didn't expect that I would see chemistry between Sho and Mone. Like, it's one of those things where I just did, like, I've seen them both individually, obviously in different projects. It's one of those things that don't pop at the top of your head whenever you're thinking of like pairings that you would want to see. But I don't know. I wanted to see them in a drama together after that particular episode. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. I mean, I've ranted about this so much on Twitter already, so leaving it at that. But that's why the third episode is on third place. Now, for my second place, it's episode 9. Now, the thing is, even if this one sort of like, I feel like the reason why it's second place for me is because I've anticipated this episode a lot. I feel like a lot of people theorize about whatever it is that's going to happen in this particular episode as well. And it's because after episode 8, you know, we got this like gap week because of 24-hour terebi. So there's a lot of like room for speculation and everything like that. And the thing with this is, I mean, I was happy that most of my guesses about this particular episode is correct. But the way that, you know, just the progression of everything, and it sort of like tied most of the characters together, the juxtaposition and the parallelism between Yanagida and Katanozaka and then Jiro and Kai is there, and I absolutely love that whole mirroring thing that's happening. Even if I sort of like saw it coming that Katanozaka is actually the actual culprit, that scene that he still flips over and you see that shift between good Katanozaka and evil Katanozaka, I absolutely love that part. Wouldn't be discussing the whole Yusuke Izuya issue here in this video. We'll just leave it to the real world. So just gonna be focusing more on the episodes themselves. But you know, just saying, I just like that. And it's kind of one thing that pissed me off about this particular episode is the whole drama, just so they can put in a fight between Jiro and Kai, and then they just sort of like flip it over and end it in a janken. I don't know if I should I still don't know if I should feel relieved or annoyed at that part until now. So, but I don't know, it really showed a lot, especially for Kenti's acting. I feel like it definitely highlighted him in the scene where they were confronting each other. So that's why this one is really at the edge of my favorites list. So there's that. Now, top 1. For anyone who clicked on this video, who knows pretty much how or what my current preferences are, you probably would have guessed this. But to be fair, I have to say that episode 5 is my favorite episode out of all the others. Not just because it's centered around Hirano Sho's character, okay? I have a lot of reasons. I've talked about this when I made the video about this particular episode. I'm not trying to be defensive here. Maybe I am, but let me explain. Out of all the narratives or the story arcs that this entire series has discussed, a lot of them are really, really choppy, to be fair. Like, most of them really just relied on the chemistry of the actors or how well acted it is or anything like that. But to me, episode 5, for some reason, is the one that's a little bit more well-written, in a way. Again, there's this detail about the timeline of this whole confusing thing as to the pregnancy stuff. I've talked about this in detail in my full video about this as well. But I feel like overall, and this is what I was looking for episode 4 with Honma Kai's character, is really tapping into who they are before they enter the academy and how it helps them become the police officer that they want to be in the future. So this is what I was looking for that episode, and it delivered for episode 5. Again, maybe it's just my bias for Hirano Sho talking, but I really just like how this started, from the start to how it ended. I feel like it's a lot more cohesive in a way as compared to the others. I like how, there's just a tone of like it's action, and then there's drama in it, and then there's still a little bit of like comedy here and there, but it really tapped into the holistic side of just the emotions that you want to feel based on a character-centric episode. And again, I still feel kind of weird about the whole pregnancy timeline, anything like that, but other than that, it's probably the most linear in a way, or crisp in a way in terms of writing, and that's why it's at the top of my list. And then obviously I feel like I'm gonna be judged for it, so just gonna put it out there. Again, it's also maybe partially because it's the episode about Sho's character, so there's also that. But anyways, so with that said, so that's my entire ranking for this entire series. Overall, again, I am not saying that this is the most brilliant, best, groundbreaking series J-drama of 2020. Obviously, that's not it, but definitely the chemistry of the characters are there, and it's the actual foundation as to why this drama just worked. And I don't know, like just in J-dramas in general also, it's really not like something that we have to consider to take seriously 100%, at least when it comes to the lapses and everything like that, unless you're watching something that's very technical in a way. So there's also that thing to consider. But I don't know, like overall, this drama is definitely something that will hold a special place in my heart, considering 1, headlighting actors, 2, I just love it, and 3, it has been a part of my weekend, and I think my 2020, because I've been anticipating this since they announced it in January. So I don't know, this is definitely one of the dramas that, very similar to Hanayori Dango, would hold a special place in my heart, and I am just going to miss looking forward to a new episode in my every Saturday. So there's that. Now, tell me down in the comments below, how do you rank the episodes for Miman Keisatsu? I would love to hear your thoughts. Which one is your favorite episode? Why do you like that episode? Let's talk it out down in comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to talk to you again soon in a new one. Bye!